Hey guys, it's me, Talia Risa Gibson. You could call me Tag for short, and welcome to my channel. Like, comment, subscribe. So today I am going to be meal prepping. It is Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday actually, and I was out doing some things this morning and I'm about to meal prep for the week. So let me tell you what I'll be meal prepping. I wanted to show you guys kind of what I do to meal prep, and I just started doing this like after the new year and all of that. So what I do is I go into ChatGPT and I basically tell it what I want to eat for the week, and then I'll look up recipes or different things or just what I'm interested in eating, and I'll feed it into ChatGPT, which is AI. So then I'll ask it to give me like a PDF of everything that I came up with and some of the things that it suggested as well. And so I mapped out my meals for the week. So I'll just kind of tell you. So for my breakfast, I'm going to be making berry nut Greek yogurt parfait with granola. For my snack, my first snack, it'll be a strawberry banana kale smoothie. If I don't want a smoothie, then I also have some apples, so I'll just have an apple. And then for lunch, I'm gonna make a spicy chickpea egg salad sandwich, which is basically like a mock version of tuna, but using chickpeas instead. For my second snack, I'm gonna make a ranch cottage cheese veggie dip, and I'm gonna have some fresh veggies like broccoli, carrot, and some bell peppers that I'll cut up to dip in. So that'll be my second snack. For dinner, I am gonna make a pasta with spinach. I was gonna do ground turkey, but I forgot to get ground turkey from the store, so I think I'm just gonna thaw out some chicken breast, and so I'll make the chicken breast with pasta, mozzarella, and I'll have some spinach in there as well. For my dessert, because I wanted to include a dessert instead of saying snack 3, this will be like if I want something sweet after, I'm gonna make these mini cheesecake yogurt cups with cooked fruit. So I'm gonna kind of go through these. I may not put all of this in one video, so we'll just see how long this all takes. If it's taking too long, then I may do like a to be continued and just kind of start off with a couple of the items first. So the first thing I want to do is start working on the berry nut Greek yogurt parfaits with the granola. So I'm gonna start with getting the granola in the oven so that can crisp up, and then I'll put those in separate containers, and then I'll work on the fruit that I'm gonna put inside of the plain Greek yogurt, and then I'll build those up. So we're gonna get started with that. Look guys, I found some ground turkey in my freezer. I didn't realize I still had another pack because I wanted to get more. I usually try to keep extra packs in my freezer, but I've been using it a lot and I haven't restored it. So this next grocery run that I do next weekend, I'm gonna make sure I get some more ground turkey. So I have some. I'm gonna defreeze this, and then it'll be ready for when I'm ready to cook that meal prep. So this will be ready to cook for my dinner meal prep. So I'm gonna start off making this granola. So I have this Mom's Best old-fashioned oats. I'm also going to use these almonds, sliced almonds from Kroger, and we'll also do some pure vanilla extract. We'll also do some cinnamon. So we're gonna do 2 cups of the oats. So of course I could have bought granola, but when I look at the ingredients in the granola, it's kind of alarming sometimes how much is actually in it. And I'm trying to get to a point where I start making my own if I can. And this is like very simple, so I can definitely do it. I'm gonna use this half cup to put in 2 cups of these oats. So we're gonna do 4 of these half cups. That'll make 2. So that is 1 cup. So I need 2 more of these scoops. That is 2 cups of oats. All right. Now we're gonna go in with a half cup of these sliced almonds. All right, so a half cup of the almonds. We're gonna do a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I'm just gonna go in. I like a lot of cinnamon, so I'm gonna go in all over the top of it. That's definitely more than a teaspoon. And I'm a big cinnamon person, so we're gonna go for it. This is just for me, so we need about a teaspoon. So I'm just gonna do a top full, and it'll help if this is open. We need about a teaspoon, so I'm just gonna do a top full of the vanilla. So now that I've added that in, I'm gonna add in a pinch of salt. So we're just gonna do a little dash of sea salt. All right, and we're gonna mix this up. Now I could have waited to add the vanilla actually, and just did the dry ingredients, but that's okay. I may add a little bit more vanilla just to make sure it gets dispersed. This smells super good, y'all. I'm gonna preheat my oven, which I should have done, to about 325. So my oven is preheating, y'all. So I'm gonna go in with my honey. And you know, I may use agave. So guys, I'm gonna use agave, this light agave instead, because I just don't have enough honey. So what I'm gonna do is just go around 1, 2, 3 times, just eyeballing what 3 tablespoons would look like. What do they say? Use your ancestors to figure out how much. So that's what we're doing. This doesn't need to be super sweet. I want it to just have some sweetness so that it tastes pretty good. You don't have to use a lot of vanilla, but I'm gonna add a little bit more vanilla just to make sure I have that good vanilla flavor. So guys, you can see this is very easy, and you end up with granola that you know exactly what's in it, and you don't have to like wonder like what are all those extra ingredients, because on this rolled oats box the only ingredient is the oats. All those other things you don't see so much. This could be even better with just like a fresh cinnamon stick, just to make sure even more, or like the little vanilla things, you know. So, but we're gonna make sure this is mixed good. And I made enough for me to top my yogurt parfait for breakfast, so that this will be there. So I'm gonna get this. Good. Try to get this off. I want to get as much of the oats as I can. So I'm gonna get a pan and I'm gonna spread this out onto the parchment paper on the pan, and then I'll put it in the oven. The oven is almost done preheating, and so I'll spread it and I'll leave it in for about 15 minutes, and I'll watch it to see, make sure it's not burning or anything, and then I'll take it out and distribute it into 5 equal amounts for the week. So guys, I thought I still had some parchment paper, but I do not, so I'm gonna have to use this foil. I am gonna put some of this Baker's Joy just to make sure it does not stick. And we're gonna just take this and spread it out along the pan. Trying to get as much of those oats out of the pan as possible. Don't want to really leave any left over. It smells nice and cinnamony and vanilla-ish. So we're just gonna spread it out so we get a nice, good crisp on it. We're not making it like bars, so I didn't add anything to like make it stay together. If you were gonna make it into like bars, you would have to like make sure that it's gonna stay together, but I'm not worried about that because I'm gonna spread it out. It's gonna be on a topper for my yogurt. So you can see it here. It's gonna be pretty tasty. I'm gonna get this into the oven and let it crisp up for about 15 minutes. All right, so as you can see, I have some fresh blueberries and some frozen strawberries. I wanted to use fresh strawberries, but I went to Kroger and they had the strawberries and the blueberries on sale, but people bought pretty much all the strawberries. And so I had several of these frozen strawberry bags in my freezer for smoothies. So I'm gonna take one, and I'm gonna be cooking these down anyway, so that way I can stir it into my parfait, so they won't be frozen anyway. So as you can see, I've washed my blackberries. I hope I didn't say blueberries earlier, but blackberries. So I washed my blackberries and they're actually pretty sweet. I tasted one of them and I'm not gonna have to add a lot of sugar. I'll add a little bit for the strawberries because there is no added sugar, but I'll probably just put a little agave just to give these a little sweetness. But the blackberries, they're already naturally sweet. They're not bitter, so that's good. So I am warming up a skillet, and I'm gonna start with the strawberries and agave first, and then I'll let those cook down a bit since those were frozen, and then I'll add the fresh blackberries and it'll mix all together for my yogurt parfait. So I'll be right back once my skillet is warmed up. So I'm going to put in the strawberries. As you can see, they are still frozen and I probably should use a different tool for this. So let me get something stronger. All right, so we're gonna let these cook down a bit and maybe cook some of that water off a bit. If I need to drain them, I will. Get these to the point where they're no longer frozen. So I'm gonna let those cook down a bit until they're no longer frozen, and then I'll add some agave and I'll add the fresh blackberries and then cook all of it down. So it's kind of a bit of a, not so much jam, but just kind of a, I guess, fruit compote that I'll put within my parfait jars. You can see they're cooking down. There's a lot of liquid, so I'm gonna see if I can cook off most of the liquid. If not, I will drain these strawberries and then I'll add them back. Then I'll add some agave and the blackberries. So you can see I've drained these a bit because there was a whole lot of liquid and I don't want them to get too soft before I add the blackberries. So what I'm gonna do is just do one little swirl of agave and then mix that up a bit because these strawberries are not very sweet. So let's see how that is. I'm gonna do one additional swirl of that. And then we're gonna go ahead and add these blackberries. And we're gonna make sure these all get cooked down until we have my mixture. So I decided to do this because I'm always a bit worried. Nowadays it seems like some of the fruit starts to go bad so fast. So I don't want to build these parfaits and then some of the fruit is going bad by the end of the 5 days, by Friday. And so what I decided to do was I was gonna make these, cook these down and then let it cool. And then I'll add it to my parfaits and store them in the refrigerator. So then my fruit will last longer because it's cooked down. So it'll be kind of like a swirl of fruit instead of just like the whole fresh fruit. So this is just what I thought about since this is for a meal prep for 5 days. Right. So I'm gonna let this all cook down. I'll put a top over it and let it cook down and then we'll go from there. All right guys, so you can see the granola is out of the oven. I'm gonna mix this up a bit and give it a taste test to see if I need to add anything, and then I'll let it cool and I'll separate it into my 5 containers for the week. All right, so let me mix this up. You can see it's nice and brown. I left it in a little bit longer than 15 minutes. So I think that was a good amount of time so it doesn't like burn. You don't want burnt tasting granola. So of course, to get this into bars, you would have to use more ingredients, which would add in more calories and stuff. So, but you could make your own granola bars, which is still very much better than like getting the processed store-bought granola bars. And like I said, I'm just starting to get into making my own of these kinds of things because I'm just really thinking about the ingredients. So I'm gonna scoop some of this up and give it a taste test. I'm gonna do another swig of agave and another swig of cinnamon. So we're gonna go around with the agave. We're going to go just like that with the cinnamon. I think that's enough. And we're just gonna give this a final toss. I can taste the vanilla. I can taste a hint of the cinnamon, even with all that cinnamon that I thought I put in. So this will give it more of that cinnamon taste. And just a little bit more sweetness, which is good because I didn't want to overdo it on the sweetness. So it's good to kind of just do a bit and then go from there. All right, let's get a scoop of this and let's try it out. That's good. All right, so I have these containers which are good for like salad dressings, and I'm gonna see if I can fill these up with my 5 and just kind of pack it in there. Or if I need a bigger container, we're gonna see. All right, so I'm gonna use 1 and 2 as my 4th and 5th day because I don't have enough of those containers, those other smaller ones. So I think that's gonna work for these. All right, so we're gonna finish up this last one. So you can see I've put these down and there's a lot of juice in there. You can't really see it that well, but I'm gonna drain the juice and then I'm gonna kind of mash this up and let it cook down a little bit more. So I've drained off the juice. I'm gonna mash these. We're gonna give this just a stir and I'm gonna let it cook down just a little bit longer. I'm gonna let it come to like a boil and then I'll lower it and put a top on it and let it cook down a little bit longer. All right, you can see my fruit is ready. I'm gonna let this cool, and while this is cooling down, I'm gonna start building my jars. Okay guys, so I have my mason jars, and what I'm gonna do is I have 5 jars for the 5 days, and I have this Kroger Greek non-fat yogurt, 17 grams of protein per serving. A serving is 2/3 of cup. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open a jar, and I'm gonna start with 1/3 cup. And then as the fruit is cooling, I'm going to just fill these up with the 1/3 cup, and then I'll add the fruit, and then I'll put the other 1/3 on top. So it's not gonna quite fill up this whole jar. I'm just using it to store them this way. So it's quite a bit of yogurt. That you can enjoy for this serving amount. So that's 1/3. So that's still quite a bit of yogurt. And because some is kind of sticking, I'm gonna grab another spoonful for that amount that's kind of sticking. So you can see that there. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is put a swirl of agave, because this is non-sweet. And then I'm not gonna mix it up because what I'll do is put the fruit on top, and then I'll put the other 1/3 cup, and then I'll swirl it up that way. I'm gonna come back through and swirl these that I didn't swirl with the agave. So just a little swirl. So like I said, this is non-sweet yogurt. Just plain. And I may come through with a little bit of, oh, that one already had some. I just doubled up on that one. Oh well, that one's gonna be a little extra sweeter. So I'm gonna take a cap full of the vanilla. I'm just gonna go through, just kind of do a couple drops in each one until it's all gone. So they'll have some vanilla flavor in there. So we're coming back through with the fruit. And I'm just gonna take I'll go around to try to get even among all of them. So I'm gonna take a knife and just kind of give it a swirl. All right, guys, we're gonna put the tops on these, seal them up really good, and then I'm gonna put them in the refrigerator, and hopefully I'll be able to, or remember to show you guys when I put some granola in one tomorrow for breakfast. So yeah, a nice filling breakfast, Greek yogurt, fresh fruit that I cooked down, agave, vanilla, and I'll have the homemade granola. So yeah. Well guys, that's gonna wrap up part 1 of my meal prep Sunday. This is my breakfast for the week. I will have one of these and I will put this in on top and put a spoon in and enjoy my breakfast. A good high protein breakfast that is satisfying as well. So today is Monday morning. I'm getting ready to get dressed for work. So I decided to come down and put one of these together while I remembered. So I have my berry yogurt parfait that has the plain Greek yogurt, agave, the blackberry, strawberry, vanilla extract. So what I'm gonna do is take 2 of these granolas that I made, the homemade granola, and I'm gonna put them in here. That's one. I'm making a mess getting granola on the counter. Let's just break it up in there. Making a mess over here, y'all. So you can see there, I have my berry yogurt parfait. So I'm gonna take a little spoon and I'll just kind of mix it in. So this will just be like a way to not have your oats get soft, so you still have some crunch. So there's a bite for you. Let me know what you guys think. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course hit that bell notification so you'll know when I post. Until next time.